You know, one of the ways they describe Boulder, Colorado, which is the place I'm fortunate to call home, is 50 square miles surrounded by reality. But this is what reality looks like in Boulder, Colorado. So I've been very pleased to have been able to live here and spend a great portion of my time outdoors in this wonderful surrounding.
Hi, I'm Todd Ordal, and I coach CEOs, and I'm based here in Boulder, Colorado. The coaching thing was really an extension of some consulting work I had been doing going back 15 years now. And I worked with a really talented CEO and his executive team for an afternoon. And the CEO said, "Would you mind going to dinner with me?" And I said, "Of course not." And he said, "I've got a problem I'd love to discuss with you." And so he threw this problem out on the table, and I asked him some questions, and I'll be darned if we didn't get to a good solution, mostly from his brain rather than mine. And at the end of that discussion at dinner, he said, "That was really helpful. How do we do that more?" And I said, "Will you pay me and I show up?" So that's kind of how I started coaching. And of course, I went through a bunch of extensive training after that. There are very few problems that I've heard in 15 years of coaching that I haven't encountered myself. So being able to help folks work through those problems so that the company benefits, the CEO benefits, and all their coworkers benefit is a wonderful thing for me. So it's turned into a really cool profession for me. Yeah, I work exclusively with executives, mostly C-suite. In fact, most of them are CEOs, and they're primarily mid-market companies. And most of them are very emotionally intelligent, bright people running very successful businesses, but they want someone to help them think through their issues. So it's typically around a problem or an opportunity or a decision, occasionally around skill enhancement. So these are talented folks who just want to do better, or they've hit a roadblock of some sort that they want some help getting through. Yeah, what clients should expect from me, number one, is they're going to get the truth. And sometimes that's slightly painful, but it's someone who's standing shoulder to shoulder with them, trying to help them. As far as expected results, I used to jokingly say there are people who want to lead better, profit more, sleep soundly at night without narcotics. If you break that down, it typically has some impact on their income statement and balance sheet. If we're not going to improve the business, I probably should not be engaged. I'd like to help them improve the business, but there's a personal aspect to that whole thing as well. Oftentimes, as I know from having been in their shoes, being a CEO is it's a very stressful environment. That phrase, "it's lonely at the top," is really true. And that's the problem that most often we end up kind of working on. Like, who do I talk to about this stuff? So the bulk of our conversations are typically around people, not the easy people, but the most difficult people, and how to engage with those folks, how to lead those people, how to engage with their board members. Secondly, we end up talking a lot about strategy. You know, where do I play and how do I win? How can I do better in my available marketplace? And then lastly, there's a lot of organizational design and team conversation that happens. How do I get everybody firing on all 8 cylinders? How do I make sure that everybody's aligned around the important issues in our business? I frequently work with newly appointed CEOs, and my advice would be multifaceted, but I would start with number one: listen. Make sure you're listening to people, your coworkers, your team, your board members, the marketplace, your most profitable customers, and some mentors in the community. So make sure you're listening. Number two, don't try to be somebody that you're not. So make sure you're very clear on what your values are, and don't compromise on those values. And if you listen well, if you're true to your values, and you put the work in, there's a very good chance you're going to have a successful career. Yeah, outside of work and family, there are a couple of things that I spend a great deal of time doing, and one of those is fly fishing. We're fortunate in Colorado to have a great deal of wonderful water to fish. I also typically get up to Montana, Wyoming, and Utah every year to get out and fish those waters as well. And that's just a great deal of fun. It's a terribly calming activity for me. When you're watching that fly float down the river waiting for a fish to eat it, there's just not many bad thoughts that can come through your head. So I enjoy that. And then I ski a lot in the winter too. I ski 30, 40 days a year and travel around the country doing that. I've got a group of good buddies who I've been skiing with for over 30 years now, and we typically get to some of the bigger mountains around here. Jackson's one of my favorites. Colorado's got some great skiing, but I really enjoy Wyoming. Montana's wonderful. We get up to Big Sky. And then I've got a buddy over in Park City. I get over in that part of the world as well. So those are the two things that I would, given a choice, after spending time with my family, those are the two things where I get outdoors and spend my time.